So the same thing kind of always happens when a new phone is announced. The media gets the device ahead of time, maybe a couple days, a couple weeks if we're lucky, and we get to use it while we're preparing our review. Then the date and time of the press embargo arrives, the embargo lifts, everybody posts their review at once, and it is a giant, big frenzy of activity. There's commenters going nuts and defenders and attackers, and it's just a huge explosion for about a day. And then everything disappears. I mean, sure, there's follow-up coverage and stuff as people find bugs, people have other stuff to say about the devices, they wear them in over the course of a day or so, but really, nobody ever goes back and revisits these devices after that initial blast of review to see how they feel after a couple weeks.
So, let's do something about it. Let's take a look at a smartphone that, while it's still setting the market on fire, it still isn't exactly a newborn anymore. I'm Michael Fisher with Pocketnow.com. This is the Samsung Galaxy S3, and this is episode 7 of After the Buzz. The next big thing is here. Samsung's marketing tagline kicking off the launch of the Galaxy S3 was bombastic, but quite accurate. You can still see the banners and commercials everywhere you look, so it's tempting to say that the Galaxy S3 isn't yet ready for an After the Buzz segment, but it launched longer ago than you think, 29 May 2012, which means it'll soon be creeping up on middle age for a flagship Android smartphone. The Galaxy S3 sold more than 20 million units in its first 100 days of availability, smashing records and flooding the globe with the biggest non-phablet smartphone ever. So, how's it holding up so far? Well, let's check the hardware of my Verizon-branded Samsung Galaxy S3 to see how it's held up under a few months' worth of daily use. In short, pretty well. Honestly, better than I anticipated. You'll recall I've never been a huge fan of Samsung's design direction with the Galaxy S3 and its emphasis on lightweight and glossy, flimsy material. If you're like me and you don't like protective cases, the Galaxy S3's build quality might have given you pause when you first took the device out of the box, no matter how strong the Gorilla Glass up front or the polycarbonate around back. Fortunately, the device has held up much better than I expected. The plasticky feel is annoying on humid days, and the hyperglaze coating on the battery door shows more than its fair share of scratches, even despite careful handling, but the white coloring on my unit covers up those pretty well from a distance. Also, that same glossy coat has prevented the white polycarbonate from staining or color transfer from jeans or other sources. From far enough away, the unit looks a lot like it did when it first came out of the box. I still don't like the physical home button, which forces me to interrupt my tap, swipe, and flick interaction so I can mash a big key with my thumb. It's clumsy and stupid, a departure from the new UX principles that ICS tried to introduce. Also, the capacitive keys flanking it are invisible when not illuminated, and their position close to the edge of the device makes them very easy to activate accidentally, especially when you're passing the phone to someone to take a picture. It's annoying. Touching on one last positive bit of the hardware experience, though the device spends most of its out-of-pocket time resting on the protruding camera module, the lens isn't scratched in the slightest, which was a welcome surprise. I still wouldn't trust the Galaxy S3's build enough to put it through any significant physical stress, but for daily use in its caseless, naked state, the Galaxy S3 holds up well. Oh, and P.S., we've never fallen out of love with its big, bright notification LED either. But, as we know, hardware isn't the only thing that degrades over time in the world of smartphones. Like many Galaxy S3 users, I'm still stuck running Android 4.0.4 Ice Cream Sandwich. How does that hold up in a world increasingly dominated by jelly beans? Not as bad as you might think. Sure, a few days with the Galaxy Note 2 got me used to the enhanced notifications and Google Now support baked into Android's latest, but as I mentioned in that review, I didn't really feel the performance enhancements of Project Butter because the UI is already so smooth on the Galaxy S3 running Android 4.0.4. Samsung worked some real magic with the Nature UX iteration of TouchWiz, transforming the much-maligned Android skin from a laggy mess to a real value add. Useful elements like the toggle bar in the notification shade, the information-dense widgets, and extensive customization options have all served to make the Android experience more convenient. My device's app launcher shows that I've downloaded 49 apps. The camera tells me I've got close to 700 pictures on board, and there's over 2,000 songs loaded into memory. That's on a removable 32GB card, and even taking read-write times into account, the device is still snappy as anything. Sure, it bogs down at times. No device is perfect. Chrome, in particular, seems to strain the SGS3's resources at times, and it's possible to get some UI lag going if you have a busy widget menu. Also, a lot of the fancy Samsung software customizations don't serve much use once you get past the novelty stage, particularly S-Voice, which is still just awful. But other features like Smart Stay continue to prove their worth, and the phone's core features continue to shine, even under the fine layer of dust that's gathered since launch. The camera is still one of the best smartphone shooters out there. Battery life is still better than many similarly spec'd devices on the market, and it even makes phone calls pretty well, if you're into that kind of thing. Part of the reason we started the After the Buzz series is because over time smartphone devices tend to bog down. Their real errors don't float to the surface until after weeks or months of use. On Android, that sometimes tends to mean a laggier experience with jittery UI performance and general grumpiness until it's no longer the droid you're looking for. That hasn't happened on the Galaxy S3. Now, granted, this is the US version with different processor and RAM loadout than the global variants and other models, and we have no idea what's going to happen when the next few iterations of Android make their way to this device. But considering the polish Samsung's brought with this model, the massive ad blitz surrounding it, and its impressive sales numbers thus far, SGS3 owners now constitute a hugely important sector of Samsung's customer base, and the company is probably going to do all it can to support this Halo device for quite a while. Maybe more so than other flagship devices from other companies, which haven't enjoyed the same media exposure. More than 4 months post-launch, if we were a financial firm, we'd still give the Samsung Galaxy S3 a strong buy recommendation. Guys, this has been episode 7 of After the Buzz. We hope you enjoyed it. Leave us a thumbs up here on YouTube if so. If you have a comment, leave a comment on the post at pocketnow.com and we'll get back to you. There are 6 other episodes of After the Buzz. You can find them here on our YouTube channel, or you can find them at Pocketnow with the After the Buzz tag. You can also hear from us weekly on the Pocketnow Weekly podcast. That's Pocketnow Weekly. And follow us on Twitter. Pocketnow Tweets is the official account. My account is Captain2Phones. That's Captain, the number 2, Phones. Please keep it locked to pocketnow.com for a whole bunch of new content every day for the days, weeks, months, and years ahead. Stay tuned for the next episode of After the Buzz coming very soon. And once again, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. On our YouTube channel, you can also hear us weekly on the Pocketnow Weekly podcast. I knew that was going to happen. I hate not turning off my ringtone. Sorry, Jaime.